Hey everyone, it's Apache here and welcome back to another episode of FTB Beyond here on the CreedCraft server. Today we're going to be having a look at WOOT, the mob grinding factory. This is a mod that I haven't really seen before and we're going to get straight into it because it's quite an involved mod from what I've seen. But just before we do, you can see here I've started to lay out some of the storage on this side of the room and some of the auto crafting stuff on this side of the room. I've decided this series I'm going to stray from tradition of doing a lot of stuff manually, and I've started putting a load of auto crafting stuff spread out throughout these. The only one I haven't fully done yet is the soldierers, which I've got them all in one crafter. So the soldering aspect of auto crafting is pretty slow at the moment, but you can see I've started to build it up. I've also put in an ender chest here into an interface, and I've started to build up the fluid interface as well. So we've got auto input into the system via this ender pouch here. And so there's a few things to this mod, to WOOT, and a couple of things we're going to need to craft first. You can see I've got all the items here that we're going to need. And so the first thing we're going to build is this WOOT manual. And so that is a head and a book, and we're going to grab that. I'm not going to go through all of this with you, I'm just going to show you the basics. I'm going to eat a little bit as well. So the basics of this mod, this is not an incredibly well written manual, I've got to say. It's got a bit of broken English in it, a couple of typos in it, and I found it quite difficult to read the first time round. But the basics of it, I'm going to skip this one and this one. So how to craft. You'll need two basic item types to start building the factory components of your factory: a Yar hammer and some dies. You use, this is the bit which is badly crafted English, you use the hammer some obsidian to hit it against a die and some materials to craft. You get the hammer, die and obsidian back after each craft. And it says, create one of each of the 7 types of dies and they will serve you a lifetime of your factory. The factory comes in different tiers. We're going to only do level 1 at the moment, tier 1, just to get it up and running. So long as it's, I want to try and grind down creepers, try and use this as a creeper factory. So, actually no, I want to try charged creepers. So I may have to go for a tier 2 straight away. That's no problem if we do. You can see further on in this, oh yes, and the factory must be above Y level 10 because construction regulations. I assume that means that you can go down by 5 blocks to Y equals 5, where the bedrock starts forming usually. It starts on Y equals 3 on this server though, because we've got the better bedrock gen, or flat bedrock gen anyway. And construction regulations, I suppose, it means that, yeah, it goes down beyond the layout block. So, we create a mob prison to actually capture, say, the essence, or like program what mob to actually put into it. And there's quite a nice mechanic with it that you put the mob into the controller block, which is, do it on this one. I think it's this controller block, but we'll see once it's started. And then you use these different controller blocks. You swap them out to be able to do to be able to change which mob to grind. And so I'm thinking that we may actually be able to use some vanilla mechanics with a ticker tape feed to actually choose which mob to spawn later on, and then we can automate that with, say, a screen input. So you press a button for skeletons, and this ticker tape will turn round to the correct one, and then you could change it to charge creepers, and then you could even change it to ender dragons or wither bosses. And so there's probably a lot of automation we can do within this. There's also kind of block breaking and block placing we could do to automate it as well. I don't want to do too much talking today, just babbling on like I usually do. I just want to kind of get straight into this. So the next item we're going to need is this Yar hammer here, yet another hammer. And so it is nether brick, sticks and string. and so we should be able to create that. If there's anything we can't create straight away, I will cut away and then come back once I've got materials. And the next things we're going to need are these dies, these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 dies. And so I'm hoping that we should have enough for most of these. There's the prism die, the mesh die, the shard die, plate die, the connector die. Sorry, I need to cough a minute. Sorry about that. And the casing die. And so that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. No, that's 6. Which one haven't I got? This one, the skull die. And so that is 7 of these dies. And we are also going to need a piece of obsidian. And so, what do we do next? If we have a look at the book again, we're going to start off with this tier 1 factory. In fact, no, I'm going to make one of these layout blocks. This is the first thing you build, and this will actually show you exactly what you need. And so this is stone and a factory casing. So factory casing is the hammer, obsidian and the die. You get these 3 back after every cast. And we need 4 of these under iron plates. So what are these under iron plates? These are under iron and the 3 other things that you need, 1 of the dies. And I'll just call it, I'll forget about these in the crafting recipes and just say what these are. So this is, you need under iron for this to create 4 of these. So we need 1 block or 1 ingot of under iron. This is pulverized under iron, and this is iron and nether brick. So we're going to need some nether brick. So do we have any nether brick? Yes, we do. I've been mining out some of the nether fortresses in the nether to create spawning platforms for web skeletons. So if we go back to WOOT, we can create some of this pulverized under iron there, and I'm probably going to need a bit of it, so I'm going to put all of these into there and that. And I think now we smelt this, so I'm going to head out to spawn over here. Until I get all my machines up and running, which I'm going through slowly at the moment, I'm just going to come over here and put it into the furnace here. And so that should go through and create under iron. We only need 1 for now, so I'm going to let that cook up and we'll come back to it if we need it. The server has been a bit laggy recently, so if you see me rubber banding about, then that is why. I know Nathan is working on a huge project over there. He's building a mountain, and I think he's placed about nearly 1 million blocks in the last 24 hours, so there's still a lot of rendering issues with that. It's okay though, we'll get over it. And so now we want this under iron plate. Now that we have these, that'll create 4 of them, and then we can make these factory casings. And then finally we can create this mob layout block. And so this will actually tell us what we need to do. So I'll head outside somewhere and I will find a place for this. I'll come back to you once I've found a place for it. To start things off, we're going to use one of the bottom floor rooms here. Actually, going to start using some of the rooms in this house. So I've put a little hole in the floor here which tells us where we're going to place this. And we're going to place that in there, and you can see it actually gives us an outline of the blocks we need to place now. So we need these black ones and these red ones, 1 of these blocks, 1 of them blocks, 1 of them blocks and 1 of them blocks. So let's actually see what those blocks are and how we can use them. One thing I did want to show you was with this space that we have here, whilst it's here, we can only really have the tier 1. Up to tier 2. If we right click on this, you can see it shows us an outline of the tier 2, and that is coming up towards the height of the ceiling here. If we go for a tier 3, then you can see it actually starts going into the ceiling here. And so once we need a tier 3 WOOT system, then we will move it out of here and place it somewhere permanent elsewhere. And then tier 4 again goes right up into the ceiling there. So we can only use tier 1 and 2 on this, but for now we only want tier 1. And we can actually start getting this stuff ready. Looking at the requirements for this, we need 13 of the grey structure blocks, 14 of the red structure blocks, and 2 of the tier 1 capstones for the tier 1 factory. We're going to create that first and then see if we have enough for the tier 2 factory. Only needs 160 RF per tick, so it is fairly efficient on power. And this requires 2 more of the red structure blocks, and 40 of these orange structure blocks and 4 of the tier 2 capstones. But we'll come to that later on. We'll just deal with this tier 1 for now. And this only needs our 80 RF per tick, so it's going to be negligible on our power system. So let's get on with some of this. I have already started crafting up some of the nesting within this. There's quite a lot of nesting within some of the recipes. So I've created some of these factory controllers and the iron plated skulls. So first of all, we need 2 of these Mod Factory tier 1 capstones. And so we grab 1 of those, and I still need 1 more of these capstones, which is there. So I'll get another 1 of those, and we can do another 1 of these. So there's the 2 capstones we need. And how many is it again? Sorry, just get this in my head. So 13 grey and 14 red. So the grey capstones here are bones and these factory casings. Factory casings are these ones we made before. It creates 4 of them. And for this we need more under iron, and I've created a load more under iron as well. So I'm just going to get a load of those for now. And we can go down into the nesting of here again and get a load more of these. And that'll do. And that should give us enough for these. So there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 of those. That uses bones, and the red one uses rotten flesh. And we've got loads of each here. And we need 14 of these. 11, 12, 13 and 14. And there we go. And so that is everything we need for this, apart from the mob controller here. So this will actually allow us to choose which mobs we have. And I'm using wither skeletons, trying to use the wither skeleton skulls for as much of this as I can, because we have a wither skeleton farm in the mining dimension, so we've got a lot of these skulls. And so that is everything we need for the tier 1. The other thing I'm going to need is one of these mob prisons, so I will gather up all the dyes for this. I need to do a bit of Britannia stuff to get the dyes for these, because as you see, we've not got much. So I will gather up those and get a mob prison, and then I'll bring you back when I am sorting this stuff out. Okay, I've gathered up the dyes I need, so I'm just going to make one of these for now. You can see we've got everything apart from this mob prison frame, and this is just Ironbender and 2 of these under iron. And so if we make one of those, now we can finally make a mob prison. So let's go and build this thing. And so to create this, it's as simple as just putting these in place. So if we place the first one there, and we can put everything else around it. And so just going to go through here and build this up. Looks like one other thing I didn't craft was this actual controller here. So let's have a look at this one. We go to WOOT, and it is here, the actual controller itself. And so we have everything apart from the tier 1, 2 and 3 upgrades. So hopefully we'll have enough for all of this. I will get, it looks like a bit more nesting in this, so I will get some of this sorted out and I'll come back to you. Okay, that didn't take long actually. So I've also created a flux point here for the power. So I'm going to place that in there, in that little gap there, and select a network for this. So that means we have the power, and then we can place this on top. And once it's all up and running, this will power it up. And then we need to place this on top. But at the moment, this is inactive. So we need to go out and try and collect the mob that we want to spawn. So I've got a few more things I need to collect up for that. So I will bring you back in once I've gathered that up. And in fact, no, I'm going to show you now what I need to do, because there's a little bit of crafting first that I need to do, because I want to try and get a charged creeper for this and see if it'll actually do a charged creeper rather than a normal creeper. And for that, the only way I've found in this pack to actually charge creepers, rather than just finding them normally, is with the storm magazines from Reliquary. And so to be able to use this, we're going to need to create one of the guns, the hunter's gun from Reliquary. So if we have a look at Reliquary here, we can see it's this hunter's handgun. And I think we've got everything we need to be able to craft this actually. And so we're going to need a grip assembly, which needs an empty magazine. So we'll get some of these and we'll just quickly craft this up now. I suppose the grip assembly. Barrel assembly, I should have enough for that. The hammer assembly, that's fairly easy. And then I should have, I've got some slime pills, I know that. So yes, there is the gun itself. And where's this storm magazines? Needs an empty magazine, which we've got. And these storm shots. So this creates 8, so I need to get some catalyzing glands, because I don't think we've got any of those. So I'll just have a quick look to see. Oh, we've got 1. So I need to go out and kill creepers until I get another catalyzing gland, and then I'll be right back with you. Amazingly, I flew outside my house, so there was a creeper just outside. I killed it and it dropped one of these. So we've got what we need now. So that is the storm shots are there. And then we just need to create one of these storm magazines and then work out how to use this. So, yep, looks like you just right click it and we get the storm rounds in it, and we now have an empty magazine. And so we have, I think, 7 shots in this now. So let's go out, and there is another creeper down here. But I want to try and drag him out of the water. Do I? No, I'll just shoot him here. So how do I do this? Aha! Now he's a charged creeper. And so now if I click on him with this, left click on him with this, now you can see WOOT charged creeper in there. And now I'm going to kill him because he might actually drop something really useful. But he didn't, and now I'm going to run away and hide inside. And jump over there. There we go. So we have a mob prison with charged creeper in it. And so if we head back down the stairs and into here, if we right click on there, you can see this is now charged creeper, requires tier 1, and this has now changed to a multi-block structure. I think if we right click on here now, let's have a look. What do we do? So it's saying it doesn't have any power in it at the moment, but it doesn't have an inventory here. So if we grab, just for now, a wooden storage crate and put that there, then this will start filling up with the stuff from the charged creepers. So is this actually getting power now? No, let's dig down underneath and see what's happening. Do I need to take this away? that is connected. I'll tell it to ignore the limit. You can see all of these are connected. Oh, it's because it's night time, I think. So if I come over to here and sleep, that may have an effect. And let's see if it's working now. Nope. So what am I doing wrong with this? Do I need to hit it with a hammer? I know with immersive engineering at least, you need to hit stuff with hammers to get them to work. Nope. So what am I doing wrong with this? Anything? Because it says, if we look in the book again, that, I'll try and find it. Right click the mob with mob prism, factory or thorn. When you break the mob controller, the mob will still be programmed, so you can swap out controller blocks between them. If your factory does not form, then you can right click the mob factory block for information on what is wrong. So that's okay. It is above Y10. We've got the mob, it's not a wither boss. Placed in front of the mob factory, so that is, and the power is into the bottom. But I'm sure it said something in here about if it will tell you what's wrong with it. The difficult bit is power. Depending on the mob, the factory, tier and upgrades installed, you will need different amounts of power. Power is applied to the bottom of the mob factory block, which it is. Again, you can look at the factory proxy as an alternative. Okay, so we may have to do that. That's for tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, tier 4. The proxy and extender, that extends out the bottom of it. And then the upgrade totems we're not worried about for now. The XP upgrade, mass upgrade, all these are the upgrades. And then the blacklists. So now, I will come back to you, I will have a play around and come back to you once I've worked out what's wrong with this. Rather typically, I only needed to break this flux point and put it back on, and it is now filled up with power. So this has a 10 million RF buffer in it, which is a huge amount for 160 RF per tick. And it spawns one mob every 320 ticks. So it's not an incredibly fast farm this at all. This is something which is supposed to be left overnight and eventually you will gather up some drops. So you can see, but we've already got one gunpowder at the moment, so it's already been 320 ticks since this has been put on, and we've already got two now, mobs worth of stuff. The good thing about this being a charge creeper is that we will actually get this, I think it's called the Heart of the Storm, or is it the Eye of the Storm? Just get Storm, yeah, this Eye of the Storm. And this is used in a number of different things. The Rending Gale, which allows you to fly so long as you've got feathers in your inventory. The Tome of Alkahestry, which is essentially equivalent exchange, but the equivalent exchange currency is redstone. And it's used to gather up more gunpowder as well. So once we've actually got the Rending Gale and the Tome of Alkahestry, then we can just use it for getting gunpowder. And we can use it in the Apothecary Mortar as well for a number of different things. So I've only had this running now for about half an hour or so, and you can already see I've got a stack and a bit of gunpowder. I've got 10 of these Eye of the Storms, which is another 100 gunpowder. Sorry, is it 100? maybe something like that, yeah. And I've got some catalyzing glands, which is 6 of each, and a creeper head. So yeah, this is actually a lot better than I thought it was, even with a tier 1 which isn't upgraded. We can add a lot of different upgrades to this if we want, but some of them will quite fast increase the power usage on it. So we can see we have here the rate upgrades, spawn mob every 40 ticks is the rate 3. I would probably only ever use the free ones. I don't really see the point in not going straight up to the tier 3 upgrades. So you can see this would be 240 RF per tick rather than the 160 we're using now. So that's not a huge update in the power, but it is every 40 ticks. But it takes that power. But there's a 10 million RF power bank in this, so we shouldn't really worry about the power usage too much with that. We have looting upgrades, which again increases the power usage. The XP upgrades, at the moment this doesn't give out XP, but if we put an XP upgrade in it, again it would increase the power usage, but we could put a tank onto this and then we would get XP out of it as well, in the form of liquid XP. So then we could put that straight into a XP obelisk and be able to get that out whenever we want. The mass spawns 8 mobs at once instead of 1. The decapitate gives 80% chance to decapitate mobs. This doesn't give wither skeleton skulls though. If you put wither skeletons in here, it only drops other skulls. So that's a chance we can get a lot more heads anyway. And the efficiency upgrade reduces the power by 30%. So we'd probably want to put this in regardless of whatever other upgrades we put in. There is also blood magic once we get into the blood magic mod. So this may be something I look for kind of instead of a well of sacrifice or something along those lines to use with blood magic. But I've still got to work out where and when I want to do blood magic. It's definitely a mod we will be getting into quite deeply, but I want to do a big proper build for that rather than just putting it in a room of a house somewhere. And I don't think the rooms we've got here are big enough anyway. I'm not going to do the tier 2 for now, we don't need it for this, and I want to be able to stock up quite a lot of this stuff. I want to fill this crate as much as I can and actually get a decent system working with this. What I may end up doing is getting multiple of these WOOT multi-block things and kind of putting them next to each other with lots of different mobs in them so that we can actually create a factory if you like. And then we don't need to swap these out, we can just have multiple ones of these. This hasn't been as difficult as I thought it would be today. It's a lot of nested recipes, but they're all fairly easy to do, so it hasn't been as painful as I thought to be able to get into this mod. I'm sure when it comes up to the tier 4, if we have a look in here, we need, let's just get to this bit, we can see we need 82 of these white structure blocks, and they take they need nether stars with them. So we're gonna have to, I think it's 10 nethers you need to kill, 10 withers you need to kill with them. So it's a bit more, but it's not, again, it's not a huge amount to actually get up to a tier 4. And I think with a tier 4 you can kill ender dragons, so that may be something we look for in for Draconic Evolution, because there is some other stuff in this I've seen that allow you to do that anyway. So I will have a look through this mod for next episode and see if there's anything else we can do with it. I do want to see if we can kill ender dragons with it, so I will try and work up to a tier 4. But yeah, that's all I wanted to do this episode with it. So thank you for joining me today. If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment and subscribe on the video and to the channel. And also, if you are enjoying the series, please check out some of the other people on this server. We've got some amazing players on this server, they're building some really nice things. So the links are all down in the description, please go and check them out. So thank you very much for joining me today, and I will see you next time. If you enjoyed this video, please consider supporting me by subscribing to the channel and liking and commenting on the videos. Thanks. See you next time.